second summer I was in a group called Google TV Ads when they were trying to like figure out what they were going to do with the TV ad space and make it. They were kind of try and democratize it like they do Google AdWords and everything. That business is now dead. It was a great experience though. Google's a great company. And then after college, after Google, I ended up working with a company called Nielsen. Are you all familiar with Nielsen at all? Like SoundScan, the TV ratings, anything like that. Is that also? I have to say, I'm super like interaction. I really play off of that and conversational. So this will not be me just talking and you all just hear. I like to keep it conversational. But I worked at Nielsen. I moved to New York and worked at Nielsen in the TV side of the business. So I got away from like my performance side, and then I got into media research. So I was really doing studies where I was understanding people. And that's what Nielsen is. They power the Billboard charts. That's their SoundScan data. They power TV ratings. And so I really was understanding people and viewing trends and listening trends, really media consumption trends as a whole. And then after Nielsen, I was there in New York for a few years, and then I quit. And I went to Southeast Asia for a little bit, did some backpacking, and that's my picture of me doing some hiking in a rice field in some place. And that is there. And then I moved back to Atlanta after this, and I started working for a company called A3C. We are the nation's largest hip-hop festival and conference. We're in Atlanta. Very similar to a South by Southwest model, except we are solely focused on hip-hop. So we're a 5-day event. We have a 3-day conference with keynote conversations, workshops, panels, etc. Very similar to this. And then we have 2 days of a festival, and then shows and events that happen throughout. And these shows can be presented by curators, brands, etc. How many people have been to A3C or heard of A3C? Okay, cool, nice. So not bad. Also, I'd like to get a composition of the folks that we have in the room. Are we like artists? Are we event promoters, event people? How many people are artists in the room? Okay, so a few artists, and then how many people represent organizations or events? Okay, so it's about half and half. So brand partnerships is a really broad topic, and it's a hot topic in the U.S. It's a hot topic globally right now, but it's really one that I'm really happy to talk about. So I started working with A3C and really started their brand partnership team. We had a bunch of sponsors, but no one was really overseeing the sponsors as a whole, and no one was like, okay, cool. Like, we have all these people who want to connect with hip hop, but we didn't have anyone dedicated to figuring out how. I've been doing this for 3 years, and I also started a company called Royce Be Creative that also does brand partnerships and produces really cool events as well. So that's me. I'm Royce. What do? I would consider myself a storyteller. And I think if you're going to be in the world of brand partnerships, you need to say that you are the same. You need to really, this is as an artist, as a brand, as an event, whatever you do, you need to be able to tell your story. So like I said, I lead partnerships for A3C. I'm constantly on the phone with brands telling our story. This is who we are. This is who we do. This da-da-da. This is me. I'm 6'1", da-da-da. You know, like, I'm constantly talking about that and constantly telling a story. So I would say that you need to be able to tell your story, and you need to be a storyteller. Everyone who represents anything should be a storyteller on some level. We have over 60 partners. It's a lot of management. So we work throughout the year to really get people from the likes of Toyota, Squarespace, all the way down to local vendors. And this can be in a variety of ways. Some people come to us. We go out to some people. But really, what I would say that I do is I help brands tell their story through the lens of hip-hop. And it is the #1 genre in the world right now. So I'm really happy about that. Happy to be in Atlanta. Happy that is a genre that I represent. And I also included like some pictures from A3C in here, just so you can see what it's about and see some of the things that we do. So Toyota's one of our bigger sponsors. They come in and they do a really good job activating across the festival. You know, hip hop loves a fresh haircut. They actually integrate Killer Mike's barbershop into our festival ground and cut people's hair for free. So keeping people fresh. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna get to that. What's the number one thing that gets brands to listen to you? So we have some about that. So I want to take this back, and maybe you can help me answer this, and then I think we can lead into it. So what is a brand partnership? What is corporate sponsorship? What is this? This is a very broad topic, and a lot of people cover it in a lot of different ways. Does anyone have a definition of what they think brand sponsorship, corporate partnership is? Anybody? What is a brand partnership? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Corporations bring in extra money. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, on a practical level. Right. 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 So this is something so you can have folks that are, they're bringing you something, you're bringing them something. Anybody has another idea, any other ideas? Thank you. So the way I define it is this, like, it works for you, it works for me. What do you want? And what do I want? What do I need to get? And you need to define that. So brands are saying, yo, festival, artist, whoever, help me tell my story. Help me tell my story. And so, like I said, we all have to be storytellers on some level. And as an artist, as an event, you need to understand your story, right? And to answer your question, what's the number one thing that brands like to see and that will get you something is knowing your story and knowing your value. And so we'll get to that. So the thing that everyone wants to get out of this is everybody wants to feel like they're winning. So, it's like when you get off that call and you're like, yo, I think we just got over it. I think we just got over on them. Like, they're giving us $100,000 just to like post, and the brand's like, yo, we're only giving her $100,000 to post. So everybody needs to leave the conversation feeling like they've won. And if you've done that, then you've started on your road to a really successful corporate music partnership, whatever it is. You need to feel like you're winning, and they need to feel like they're winning. Yeah. Super important. Super important. Research is super important, and that kind of goes into your whole, like, you have to know your story. So I'll kind of touch on that a little bit, and I have it parked in my brain. And yes, if you have questions, you can just fire them out, and I can answer your questions. So, like, I think we know this, but I want to show it to you because I used to work in data, and I like numbers. So not too much. I don't like numbers too much when I have to crunch them, but when people give them to me, I like them. So brands need music. I think we all know this, but let's look at some numbers. So $2 billion in sponsorships for tours and festivals and venues in the U.S. alone are spent on partnerships. This is just in the U.S. $2 billion. That means everyone can eat in some way. Everyone can have a piece of this pie. Momentum and AEG, one of the largest concert promoters in the world, did a study. And they said, okay, 83% of people leave with greater trust for brands that support live music experiences. And all I'm doing is setting this up for you, letting you know that brands need you. Whether you're an artist, whether you're an event, like, understand that you are valuable. Do not think, oh, my event's too small, I can't get it. Oh, I'm a small artist, I can't get it. Brands need you, and they need music because of the emotional connection that it brings, right? 93% of respondents say they like brands that sponsor live events. Brands know this. They need to connect with music. And then 80% admitted that the best way and the most effective way for brands to connect with them is through a branded live music event. So for my folks in here that have an event, that have an organization that represents music in some way, know that brands need you. And when you come to the table knowing that, it will help you not be as scared and go, yeah, we can do this. Yeah, we can do this. Yeah, I can bring you this many people. Like, they need you, but they need you to know what you do very well, okay? And so the sooner you know that, the more successful the partnership will be. So, like I said, like, A3C, we bring in thousands and thousands of people, but we are not Coachella. We are not Bonnaroo. We're not giving you 200,000 people, wearing crop tops, walking down the playa or walking down the desert, going like, yeah, Adidas or whatever. That's not what we do. We have a completely different value, and so that is what I'm charged, and you all will be charged with representing if you are fortunate enough to really make a partnership with a brand. You have to know that they need you, but also be able to tell your story. So I'm going to take this from two lenses. I'm going to take this from the artist lens, and I'm going to look at this from the festival and live event lens. So, because I know we have some artists in the room. Artists, you are wanted. So brands need you. Artists, you are wanted, no matter the level. And I say that because brands now more than ever, and I'm on the phone with brands at least, 4 out of 5 days during a work week. And brands want you at all levels. Like, yes, big artists are getting huge brand partnerships, but I'll tell you, a trend that's happening right now, a lot of brands are partnering with independent artists. And so if you're in artist management, if you represent artists in any sort of a way, if you are an independent artist, know that you're wanted. Yes, of course, larger artists can get the big Beats deal or get the big clothing brand deal, and, it's cool and they're very transactional. But I say this because independent artists can really provide value in a very authentic way to a brand, and also they can provide very real value to you from a visibility standpoint. And I'm going to talk to you about some of those as well. Artists, brands have the ability to amplify what you're doing. So it's not always money. And when you realize that and you go into a potential brand partnership and you are looking for a check, that may be one thing, but also they can put you on a stage. They can give you an opportunity to go in the room with someone that you may have never been in the room with. And when you look at it like that, you'll understand. And indie artists get love too. So I put a picture here because this is an example of like a really big brand partnership that was done during the Grammys. I think it was 2 years ago. Target released a song with this artist Zed and another artist. Do you remember that or know that song, The Middle? Baby, why don't you just meet me in the middle? You know the song? So they released this. Target paid for the video, paid for everything, and they released this song during, I think I have a little bit of an example here, but, well, forget it. You get the point. But Target actually did this video with them, and they paid for the whole video. The video had, like, small kind of Target references, different Target visuals, and Zed got to release a song that they were trying to release. Target got a really nice branded experience. Of course, they paid for the however many millions spot it was to get in the Grammys. And then they both got a very mutually beneficial partnership. This song went to be number 5 on the Billboard charts. And this was a really, really good example of a brand partnership that someone said, okay, we see something that can work. And I was reading a little bit about the song. They wrote the song 2 years prior to the commercial actually even being aired. And then it was meet me in the middle. I know someone from Target was middle, Target. Oh my God. And then they made it happen, right? And so I always think of that. And the moment I was watching, I was looking at the video before I even knew anything about it. And I was like, this looks like a Target commercial. And so then I did some research, and I was like, oh, Target paid for it. And, then I saw that even the visuals, everything was looking like Target. And I was like, wow. And Zed was great. So I just got my song played during a primetime spot on the Grammys. Target got a branding opportunity and connection to music. And some relatively unknown artists, not necessarily Zed, but the folks that were on it with him, got a chance to really get a really big hit that's still being played on pop radio. So, but I say that also to say that indie artists get love too. So I want to show you all a couple of examples because I want to show you all some real examples of ways that brands have come in and really are showing love to the indie artist community. So these are brands that I've worked with. So Squarespace, everyone familiar with Squarespace? Yeah? Okay, cool. So do any of the artists in the room use Squarespace as okay, yeah, good. And they know this. They're like, yo, so we have a bunch of indie artists that are setting up pages on our site. And we already know that brands need music. So where's the connection? How do we make that connection besides just going, hey, thanks for being on our platform? How do we really make a real connection? So, we talked to the folks from Squarespace, and they said they noticed that a lot of hip-hop artists were doing it because hip-hop is a very entrepreneurial. As an artist, you have to be an entrepreneur, but hip-hop is an extremely entrepreneurial genre. folks are setting up their own websites, etc. So they needed to create, maintain, and nurture that relationship. They came to us because we have thousands of independent artists that perform. So at our festival, we have your big artists, but all throughout the stage is very similar to this event. We have independent artists that are showcasing their work. And they said, yo, A3C, you all are giving artists a platform. How can we connect with you in a way? How can we pipe into you and really make a connection with independent artists? And this is kind of going back to what I was saying. No, the independent artists didn't get a check, but what you were able to do is have an association. So what they wanted to do, they wanted to increase brand equity amongst the hip hop community. They wanted to support independent artists, and then they wanted to acquire new customers. So what we did was we said, yo, just come to A3C, have a branded venue. We'll put a couple of our independent artists, like programs that we've been nurturing all year, in your branded venue. You'll have an opportunity to connect with them throughout the process, and then they can perform on the Squarespace stages at A3C. So we integrated Squarespace completely into the This Is My Year program, which is something that we have at A3C, which is really a pipeline to perform. It answers our question. How do I perform at A3C? Yo, how I get on a stage? How I get on a stage at A3C, Royce? That's not even my thing, but I'm like, yo, dude, this is my year. It could be your year. So Squarespace completely plugged into that, and we created a brand experience for them to start that conversation with independent artists. And they are still in conversation with a number of the artists that performed on their stages. A3C was the conduit, right? And so as an event, you can be the conduit because you have to know what you do well. If you say we bring 50,000 people, then what you say is we do well is scale. Okay, and use the language that brands are familiar with, or get someone that can use the language that brands are familiar with. If you say we have 2,000 people, if we have 5,000 people, but our people are super engaged. So I imagine that's like New School Rules, Hanker, right? Like you're not bringing 50,000, 100,000 people, but the people that are coming to New School Rules in Rotterdam are super engaged. Yeah? And that's huge. I mean, if your thing is family, I remember when I first started this thing at A3C, I was like, yo, how many people do we have? And they're like, sometimes we get this. I'm like, yo, what is our value, right? And what is our value? We're not Coachella. Like, so talk to the people that are interested in doing something like that are really interested in making genuine connections. Other events in the room, do you know your value? And that's important. But I'm talking to the artists right now because I say that Squarespace can give you an opportunity, and then you can leave that place going, yo, Squarespace completely marketed a showcase that I was on. They put me in a branded experience, so I'm not just performing in a horrible basement somewhere. And they gave me a really cool branded experience and some dope pictures that I can then put in my artist packet, and then I can show it to other brands and go, yo, I am marketable, right? So this is to my artists. Attaching to brands helps you not just from a monetary, that may not be a problem in Canada, money, because I know you guys have grants, but I'll tell you, in America, artists are hustling to find some coins, okay? And so when you do this, this allows you to kind of have a domino effect. You have a picture with you performing on a Squarespace thing, McDonald's may see it and they go, oh, we have a commercial, we have a thing. Target might see it and go, yo, artist, what are you doing? Like I see that Squarespace is with you. No, they don't do a lot, but like, is this something that you're into? Right? So again, with artists, how do brands help the independent artist community? So Boost Mobile, are we familiar with Boost Mobile? Do you all have that in the other, anyway, Boost Mobile is a mobile service provider. They really noticed that a lot of independent artists were really, they wanted to support the independent artist community. And they said, okay, this is our community. We want to figure out a way to support it. They also, like most mobile retailers, they have physical brick and mortar stores, right? And so they said, they came to us and we talked to them and they said, we want to drive traffic to stores, right? And so all I do initially is listen. And as an event person, as a music, as an artist manager, your first conversation with the brand needs to be listening. It does not need to be, I need money. You can do this. It needs to be, what do you need, brand? Like, what are your goals? And that will be the first question. And then you can go, is this something that I can realistically do, right? So Boost told us they wanted to drive traffic to stores, increase brand awareness, and build community loyalty. So what we did is we launched a whole campaign called the TIG Switch Session. So we got a have you all heard this song called Every Day We Lit? Hey, Every Day We Lit. Is that do you all know this song? From YFN Lucci, y'all don't know that? Okay, this is a big hit, and this is a big hit in America, in the U.S., and it's a hip-hop song. But this is a record label coming out of Atlanta, and we said, okay, Boost, we have a ton of artists, producers, again, really understanding what we were good at. We said we have a ton of artists, we have a ton of independent producers, we have a ton of people who represent artists who are small time, but they want a platform. They want to get heard by people that have made a hit. Boost said we want someone that's made a hit, but we also want to support the community. So then what we did is we said, okay, we see some synergy. We have a brand that wants to support the community. We have artists that want a platform and visibility, and then we have us, the conduit for that. So what we did is we said, we created something called the TIG Switch Sessions. And so at Boost Mobile stores around Atlanta, we did these different programs for artists, producers, executives, etc. And we said, yo, you can get your song played in front of the people who have a #1 hit, and we'll do it at a Boost Mobile store. A3C will promote it, and artists can come out. Artists literally would go up. We would do it cypher style. It was at a Boost Mobile store. They would rap for TIG executives and artists who have already had a hit. A3C marketed, and Boost gave us the venue and the money. Then Boost did a showcase at A3C. So then you go, I came, and as an artist, you said, I'm fire. Like, I have bars. I can come or I can sing. I can do whatever. I can come, I can spit, I can rap, I can sing, whatever. And then I can get noticed by someone who has a hit. I can do it in a Boost Mobile store. So Boost is like, yo, we have people doing like really dope art in our stores, and we can take pictures and go, yo, look how Boost is supporting the community. And then they can do something at A3C, and then you as an artist get visibility, and then you have the pictures, and it goes around and around and around and around and around. Again, everyone feels like they've won, right? So that's super important. Yeah. Yes, this was one of the most integrated that we've done. So so that's a really good question. Do we hire a company to produce these like very intricate campaigns? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. This one we did in-house. So we had the relationship with TIG. They knew A3C. They said, yo, you guys have a lot of producers. And also, I forgot to mention the value for TIG. TIG has an artist relations team. They have an A&R team. They go, an A&R team, and they're always interested in finding new acts. So we said, yo, TIG, what we'll do is tell everyone to come to this Boost Mobile store, tell them that you're there, you can listen to new talent, Boost Mobile can then give you the space, pay you, help us amplify it, and A3C can help promote it. You can possibly find a new act, right? And so we and get paid. And so we produced this. So we had this in-house. We have an events manager in-house. We came up with the whole campaign. We did the timeline, etc. So again, knowing your core competency. If you do not, and this I cannot say this enough, if you do not have the ability, staff, know-how, etc., to pull off a campaign like this, hire someone. Get the check to hire someone. And honestly, if you get the check to hire someone and you don't make money, it can still be positive for you, because then you can put on there that AT&T or Google or whatever was a partner, and then you didn't do anything. You were the conduit. But then you can then go to a brand next year and get a larger check, etc. Right? So sometimes we hire someone, sometimes we put it together ourselves. And then artists got a chance to perform in front of people who have made hits before. So artists, that was for you. Brands want you. Events, you are needed too. And I don't want to skip over this, because you bring the people, right? Like, you bring the people. You know the space. You are authentic. So whatever event you have, I know as an event producer myself, I know that you spend countless hours figuring out your event. Like, figuring out the artists that are buzzing in your space, figuring out the right space, figuring out how you want it presented, figuring out everything about that so you can remain true to your audience and true to your genre. So you are needed as well because you are the conduit. So know that you have a value in this whole chain as well. And for events, you can take about 3 approaches to this. And this is, I've highlighted 3 approaches here. You can do it the Made in America way, which is by Budweiser. And you can go, yo, I want one brand to own my entire thing. And I want it to be called the Budweiser Made in America Festival. And that's what it will be. And you will give all the value to one brand. And you can have other brands, but everybody will know Budweiser was the thing. Whatever it is, and Coors Light is the thing here, right? This will be the Nova Scotia Music Week presented by Coors Light, and you create various value points throughout your event to give it to Coors Light, and you get them to spend more money with you. So determine what type of approach you want to take if you are an event. Approach number 1, like I said, have one big sponsor own your event if you have that relationship and if you're willing and if you have the skills and the team to really take one partner's brand up and really help them grow with you. And that's really a brand investing in your event. And it can be on a personal relationship. Someone who works for a company can go, yo, I really like you, John. I think this is about to be the next event. And here's $50,000. Let us grow together. As your event grows, we grow, right? That's approach 1. Approach number 2, you can just provide a little bit of value to a lot of people, right? You can have a bunch of partners, and like I've seen, those festivals, those events and those conferences that have like 200 sponsors. And you see them, and it's like, how, as a person who does partnerships, I look at it and I'm like, how in the world are you providing anybody value? Like, is your event that big where you can give everybody that much value? Some are. South by Southwest, has a lot of sponsors. But this is an event that has like hundreds of sponsors. I just took a snapshot and said, yo, this, This is an event that has a ton of sponsors. And I'm like, how are they providing value? Maybe they are. But this is approach number 2. You just have money coming in and you're just like, yep, come on in. We'll find a place for you. Come on. Yep, we'll find a place. But be wary that it's damn near impossible to give a bunch of people a ton of value. So maybe they're like, we just want to be here, and you're getting like smaller checks from everybody or smaller pieces of value from everyone. That's approach number 2. Or I took a snapshot from South by Southwest site. You can do approach number 3, which is give a limited amount of people a ton of value, but then have a bunch of other partnerships, right? So big partner, a lot of value to one partner, and then smaller value, a bunch of partners, minimal value to everyone. Or another approach, which is like a tiered approach where like a few people, everybody gets different levels of value, right? Know if you are an event where you want to be in this and make that decision. Like, do you have the type of event that can support a lot of different sponsors? Or do you just need to go really buddy up with that one brand that can help you grow and go, yo, Coors, we're going to make this your event and make this your big activation for the year because we bring a ton of people or we bring this type of person. We know you're looking for country artists. We know you're big in the country space. We bring a ton of country artists. Make this your country plan. Like, it's here. We have it, right? So know what you want to be. And then as an event, you also have to be able, in noticing your value, to find what you can commoditize. And when I say that, do you have spaces? Do you have programs? Do you have things that you can sell easily? So do you have a VIP lounge that you all do every year that the people are in that, a brand that wants those types of people wants? Can you sell that space? Do you have a program? Do you have a way for a certain type of people to come to a space? Are you doing one program that's just for producers? Are you doing a producer listening session throughout the year, but you just haven't sold it? Figure out what cards you have, and then you can go, yo, we can sell these. Like, we have 5 different rooms, and this room just has producers. This room just has executives. This room, the type of stuff that we put in this room just has brands. Like, I'm going to sell all these rooms to people who want to reach these types of people. So as an event, you have to be able to commoditize your assets. What assets do you have? And I don't care what size event you are, you should have assets that you can sell. Okay? Whatever size event you are. So I put some of our things. So we have a VIP area on our festival grounds. This is Don Julio. Don Julio really wanted to like get people drunk, and they wanted to, we had a VIP space with people that had some money, and they were like, cool. So we did a VIP space on our festival with Don Julio. Toyota has historically been an A3C partner over the past 3 years. They said they wanted to reach independent artists, but they wanted to do it. They took an independent artist approach this year. Okay, you have a huge brand like Toyota, which could easily sponsor a big name tour. But then they go, we want to create more of an independent, more of a community feel. We want to have that type of community connection with our folks who are interested in us, with our potential customers. What can you do? So last year they had the main stage and they kind of went big artists. This year we were like, cool, you're going to have the indoor stage. You're going to reach more. It's going to be a completely different experience for you. The types of artists that we're going to have in here are going to be completely different. The experience is going to be a lot more familial. It's going to be a lot more community driven, a lot more intimate, right? And then we're going to create this space for you. Finding an asset and being able to commoditize it and notice the value that you have is super, super important when you're talking about brand partnerships. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. The next piece, like TuneCore, is a digital distribution platform, and they've been a partner of A3C for a while as well. They wanted to reach independent artists. We had a space in our conference center. They really wanted to focus at our conference. So if you have a conference and a festival, sell those differently. Different people, different experience, different vibe. Sell it differently. So you want to be able to do that and go, TuneCore wanted to have authentic connections, and they wanted to reach people in the conference space, but they wanted to connect with artists. So we said, look, here's a room, make it do what it do. Like, make it pop, make it cool, connect with artists on your own. We'll give you we'll sell you a space in our conference center, and you can make it cool. And so they did their own programming. They did their own thing. Also, that takes a lift off from us. We don't have to program anything. We just said, we're bringing the artist to you. We're bringing the artist to you. You can talk to them the way you want to talk to them, right? And this is what I would tell. So that was to my events and my organizations. And this is to everyone. You have to ask yourself, who am I? As an event, as an artist, as a brand, who am I? What do I do well? Like, who am I? Like, what is my, besides my name and, everything else? The other thing is, what do I do well? Like, what am I doing poorly? I suck at promotion, but I'm really good at this. I do not bring in the numbers, but our people are really engaged. Know that. Where am I operating? I have been educated that the Canadian world of sponsorship and the U.S. world of sponsorship and the international world of sponsorship is totally different than what we're working with, right? Where are you operating? Know that ecosystem and know how to move within that ecosystem. Because the way I approach a brand as an American, as someone who lives in Atlanta, where hip-hop is born and bred and cultivated, is a completely different approach than someone who's in Montreal or Toronto. Because they get government funding, and there are all these different brands, and brands may be a little gun shy, etc. When can I reach my goals? Be realistic. Are you saying you're going to double in growth? Are you going to triple in growth, etc.? When can you reach these goals? Why do people like you? Are you that artist? Are you that festival that people just relate to? Are you Cardi B because you're super relatable? Are you X artist here because you're super brash? What is your value? Why do people like you? Do people come here because they make genuine connections? What do you bring to the table? And this is knowing this, and I hate when I get on the phone with, and brands hate it too, when you get on the phone and you don't know what you bring to the table, and you're just like, I don't know, I met you work for Coors Light, and so I thought it was a thing. That is so annoying. And that's annoying for me as well from an event side. If I'm the one that's going, okay, brand X, what do you bring to the table? Is this money? Because that's what we need. Really, are you bringing a media platform? Are you bringing artists that you've already worked with? Know what you're bringing to the table and be honest about that. And because that's one thing that I know that brands appreciate is honesty, because they're going to want a deliverable. And then you would appreciate as a festival, because if you need money to do your event, be straight up. We're really looking for this, and I appreciate you giving us this, but like, we need this. Right? And be honest. And then why do you want the partnership? So be honest about that. So without that, that's it. I put some rap snacks up here because, man, that's a really good artist brand partnership. And thank you all. Really appreciate it. Yeah, you had a question? Okay, good. Thanks. I appreciate it. Are there any questions? Cool. Yeah? Is anybody going to co-op it? For a real Atlanta performance? I don't know. I'm not privy to that. Are they? Yeah. Oh, okay. Yes. Oh, okay. Then yes, they would know that one. Yeah. Yes. So that's an interesting point. For me, I don't mind the edgy for our type of event. I love the edge. But for you all, I would say find the space that's most relative to their brand. And if you don't have it, what can you do to create it? So like, are people gun shy because they're like, I don't know if it really fits, but like, no, if it's like, yeah, no, it fits. We have this audience we have this part of Music Nova Scotia that wants to be doing more edgier, that's putting out more edgier music. Create a space for that. Because as a festival, as an event, you are a platform for people to be heard in all types of genres. And so there probably is a space for it. You just have to identify it and then sell your internal teams. And honestly, those that you may think may not be the best partnerships initially sometimes end up being super fruitful because it's a need that hasn't been met. Yeah. Thank you.